Okay, so adding and subtracting fractions. We're going to go ahead and start with a blank sheet of paper. Adding and subtracting fractions. So what we need to know when we are adding and subtracting fractions, that we have to have a common denominator. So for example, we can add, if we have 2/7 plus 3/7. What we can do, or when we add fractions, we add the top, the numerators. So we do 2 plus 3, and the denominator does not change. So this is over 7. So 2 plus 3 is 5, and 7, we have our answer would be 5/7. So again, we have to have a common denominator, which means that this number down here has to be the same when we are adding fractions. So if we do, for example, 15 over 23 plus 6 over 23, again, what we do is we leave that 23 just like it is, and we do 6 plus 15 up on the top, and we get, well, not 31, 21 over 23, and that would be our answer. Yeah, you can. Okay, so now what if we don't have a common denominator? So for example, if we have 2/5 plus, let's put 4/15. So we need to make a common denominator for both of these. One way is to do it is to kind of multiply both of the, and again, when we start multiplying a fraction, we need to do whatever we do on the bottom, we need to do on the top as well, so that it stays as the same fraction. Now, we could, if we're not sure, we could multiply this by 15 and this by 5, and we would get the same common denominators. But with these two numbers, if you look at the numbers, we have a 5 and a 15. Well, 15 has a factor of 5. So we could just multiply this by 3 and this by 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, 5 times 3 is 15. So here's our 15. And then we have 4/15. So now we have common denominators, so we can add 6 plus 4 is 10. Well, we can actually simplify this because they are both divisible by a 5, and we get 2/3. So we divided both of these by 5. So let's look at an example that has, for example, let's do 2/3. And this same thing, it doesn't matter if it's an addition or a subtraction, the same thing applies. You have to have the same numbers down here. So 2/3 plus 1/4. Now, if we look at these numbers, we don't have common factors for them. So we need to, or what we can do is we can look for common multiples, or with these numbers, we can take this 4 and multiply this by 4 and this by 3. 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3, 4 times 3 is 12. Now, since we multiplied these by each other, we got common denominators. And now we can add 11 12s, and that does not simplify any farther. That's it. We could have done the same thing with the 5 and the 15, but that creates large numbers, and then we would need to go back and simplify. So you want to kind of find the smallest common denominator, but it's not wrong to do this one 5 times 15 and this one 15 times 5. You would just have to simplify it all the way down to 2/3. Okay, there is on my MATLAB, there's a problems for adding and subtracting fractions if you want more practice with it, but and of course you can find more on, for example, Khan Academy has a bunch of them, but so if you need to practice more of these skills, but because you're going to need it in 11.1. But that's it for adding and subtracting fractions.